Good evening again, everyone. I'm Jacqueline McClenney, Chairman of Venture Richmond. We are pleased to welcome you to downtown for Mayor Dwight C. Jones' annual State of the City address. Mr. Mayor, we at Venture Richmond are pleased to be one of your closest and most supportive partners in building a better Richmond. We appreciate your leadership as the president of Venture Richmond, as well as the leadership of Kathy Graziano and Ellen Robinson, who serve on our board. I have never seen such positive momentum building in our city. There is a feeling of shared pride in the city's accomplishments and in your plans for the future. We are honored to play a small role in helping to implement your vision. The RVA initiative, which Venture Richmond leads, has taken on a life of its own. Over 100,000 people throughout the region have expressed their pride in the creativity and energy that characterizes Richmond by displaying the RVA bumper stickers on their cars. Over 30 RVA merchandise items are now for sale. The Richmond Folk Festival, which Venture Richmond produces, again saw record attendance of over 200,000 people who came to the riverfront to celebrate the cultural diversity of our community and nation. The Dominion River Rock Festival, which we produce with the sports backers, has helped define Richmond as a mecca for outdoor recreation. The 2nd Street Festival in Jackson Ward, the Easter Parade, the Friday Cheers concert series, the RVA fireworks on the James, and K-Pasa on the Canal Walk all bring vibrancy to a city that has become known for its festivals. Our next project, in partnership with over 100 community volunteers, is that a TEDx RVA event to be held on the Canal Walk on March 22nd. We will make a statement to the world through this event that we have ideas worth spreading as we showcase a program of riveting talks by remarkable people. We expect this event to sell out in a matter of hours, so stay tuned to the TEDx RVA website for ticketing announcements. The Canal Walk, which Venture Richmond manages, has never been more active. Canal boat ridership set a new record last year, and the Locks development on the old Reynolds site just opened 88 apartments, plus a great new Mexican restaurant, Casa del Barco. Our new website, rvariverfront.com, showcases 40 attractions, 70 restaurants, and miles of trails within walking distance of the riverfront. Downtown is stronger than it has been in decades. As of the 2010 census, there were over 10,000 people living downtown, and the downtown population is growing by 1,000 residents per year, which is truly remarkable. Last year, the residences at John Marshall opened with 238 apartments. The First National Apartments just opened with 154 units, and last week, Douglas Development announced that 200 units will be developed in the old CFB building on Broad Street in the Arts District. Attendance at downtown attractions topped 2.3 million in 2011, and there are now over 2,000 hotel rooms in the downtown core and over 22,000 parking spaces. The 2013 Dining Guide just came out listing 175 downtown restaurants. Rappahannock Oyster is the latest to open on Gray Street, along with Cezanne in Jackson Ward. Startup entrepreneurs are choosing to locate in downtown like Leadberry, an online men's shirt company in Chaco Slip. And one of the biggest startup stories in recent years, Health Diagnostic Labs, has a new $68.5 million expansion underway in the biotech park. Mr. Mayor, we love our role as an advocate for downtown Richmond, and we applaud the successes you have achieved and look forward to the many more that are on the horizon. In light of that, the City of Richmond's Department of Economic and Community Development is working to attract more businesses to the City of Richmond. We want to share with you a brief video produced by the city highlighting many of Richmond's strengths.
People are finding out that Richmond is a great place to do business. And I think that we have a business-friendly atmosphere in the city of Richmond that is very comfortable for those who move here and those who work here. When I talk to people who move here from other locations with other businesses, they say they are so pleasantly surprised that Richmond is such a livable city, and they wouldn't move again for anything in the world.
We are so close to the Washington market. If you take a look at the New York to the Washington to the Richmond corridor, for growth and expansion, I don't think you could be located in a better place, to be perfectly honest with you.
Richmond has some natural advantages that a lot of other localities don't have. We're the midpoint of the East Coast. We've got major north-south and east-west interstate connections going right through our metropolitan area.
What we like about Richmond is it is the capital of the state of Virginia. We really feel like we're much more connected to our government here. We have access to those folks, which is very important in our business.
The thing about the airport too, especially convenient for business travelers, is our proximity to the central business district. You really can be door to door in less than 15 minutes from the airport to any destination downtown. So the proximity is tremendous, and many cities can't even come close to that.
As far as operating costs in a business environment, Richmond or the state of Virginia is actually about half the cost of California. Economically, the resources are available, the staff is available. The cost of doing business in Richmond is about 43% of what it is in my last companies. And so it's been, from a business point of view, it's very easy to do business here.
This is a very cost-effective place to build a business. So our rent and access to people, talent, services, I think is extremely reasonable. We found great support here from a legal finance standpoint, accounting, all here locally as well.
Richmond is just an amazing place for finding talent, and I think that's why we're here and also why we've grown here.
We tap talent from Virginia Union, University of Richmond, VCU, as well as J. Sargent Reynolds.
We have not used any recruiting agencies. We've not used any headhunters. Everyone is handpicked from the resources here available in Richmond.
It is a city, it is part of a region and part of a state that is very pro-commerce, in my view, one of the absolute best that our country has to offer.
Richmond has so much to offer. We've got the full package. We've got a beautiful city downtown for your workers and your neighbors to come and enjoy, and that's really what it's all about. It's that fabric of community that Richmond has that no other city has. It's a great place to live and work. It's that simple.
Yes, Richmond has so much to offer, and we are only getting stronger. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the time that you've spent with me. It is now time to get ready to welcome our mayor. The next video is a compilation of the highlights of the first term of the Jones administration. Following the video, you will hear from our mayor. Enjoy.
Welcome to Richmond, Virginia. 4 years ago, a plan was set in motion to help Richmond realize her destiny. The capital of Virginia, the capital of creativity, the capital of economic development, the people's capital. Not just a spot on the map, but a spot in our hearts.
I would imagine that the first explorers saw the vast beauty and potential of the James when they came on the fall, and decided that this can be a great place, a great city, and a great region.
Richmond has begun to come into her own, but that growth, that change, has not occurred by accident or by chance. It has occurred through innovation, determination, and hard work.
One of the things that I've said is that we want to become a Tier 1 city. And we're not going to get there by just wanting it. We've got to plan strategically on how to get there, and certainly going to cause some sacrifice.
4 years ago, Mayor Jones started his administration with new beginnings, building relationships and trust, not just with elected officials, but with the people. In the past 4 years, the city has come directly to the people for more than 150 public meetings, covering a wide array of important topics.
But tonight is where the rubber meets the road, and you have the opportunity not only to receive the reports from the commissions, but also to make determinations and to make choices from those reports.
And when budgets got tight, we continued to come to you to find out what your priorities were.
We're happy that you're here tonight. We want very much that our budgetary projections will have your input, and so tonight's meeting is about asking you to help us determine our priorities.
And through these hard economic times, we have worked to build up our community and thus our tax base. Since 2009, 436 businesses have received assistance through the city's enterprise zone and care programs, resulting in the creation of 1,150 jobs and spurring $357 million in private investment.
So we congratulate you on the opening of Arcadia, but we also welcome you to the new Shockoe Bottom.
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
The city has also worked hard to attract new businesses and retain and help expand existing businesses. Since 2009, this effort has resulted in 2,071 new jobs and $148 million of private investment.
And now, through the efforts of HDL and my administration, the company will not only remain in Richmond, but it will also expand its operations here. This expansion is going to result in 653 new good jobs. But today I'm most proud because we're able to participate and we are able to provide and partner gap financing for the acquisition of this property through our citywide revolving loan fund. The other noteworthy element of this project is that it is in our proposed arts and cultural district.
We have also pushed forward with making opportunities available through our workforce development program, opening 2 share sites in addition to the new Virginia Employment Commission site right here in Richmond.
This is the second site that we've opened. The first was at 5th Street Baptist Church in Highland Park, and this is the second site, and so we're really excited about bringing these opportunities for individuals to find work into the communities.
The city has also doubled its spending with minority contractors over the past 4 years, and the Office of Minority Business Development has hosted more than 200 technical assistance workshops.
This project will create 40 new jobs for citizens in the city of Richmond.
And with the ink still wet on our Washington Redskins Bon Secours Richmond Health System partnership, not only does Richmond get to add Redskins Summer Training Camp to the list of amazing things to visit, it also creates almost 200 new jobs in both the East and West Ends, the redevelopment of the historic building, an additional $6.3 million of investment in our schools over the next 10 years, an estimated $8.5 million in economic impact annually, and oh, did we mention? The Redskins are coming.
And so I'm here today to announce that Lee Street is the official site for the Redskins Summer Training Camp. As if you didn't know, that's why we're here. But I have a bigger story to tell you today. The Redskins will be partnering with the city, but they're also going to be partnering with Bon Secours to build what we're going to call Bon Secours Field. And so today I'm also announcing a major business expansion that will entail a $40 million investment and 200 new jobs in the city of Richmond.
Improving quality of life has been a central theme during the Jones administration. Richmond is home to so many things to do. There are festivals, sporting events, concerts, ice skating in the winter, and free movies in the park in the summer. You can learn to mountain bike on Belle Isle or how to paint at Pine Camp. You can take your dog to one of the 3 off-leash dog parks, or you can raft through the James River Park system.
And my 2013 budget also has included in it the beginnings of accessibility for the river, so that we can get families and people not just to look at the river, but to get right down to where they can touch the river.
If getting healthier is part of your New Year's resolution, you should check out the Mayor's Healthy Richmond campaign. The campaign was a recommendation from his Blue Ribbon Commission on Health Policies and engages Richmonders with a variety of activities. 800 people participated in the inaugural Get Healthy, Stay Healthy Expo. The city partnered with the National League of Cities to provide discount prescription cards to 20,000 residents. And with Cigna as a partner, the city held a symposium to discuss the need to establish a healthcare business initiative to encourage providers to locate here in the city.
A key recommendation of my Blue Ribbon Commission was that we give high priority to finding ways to maintain a presence of physicians in urban core centers. And with this symposium, we'll be exploring ways to encourage physicians to locate practices in the city.
As Richmond works towards a healthier community, we have also been working towards a more sustainable city and government. Richmond has hired a sustainability manager and a bicycle, pedestrian, and trails coordinator.
When I became mayor 4 years ago, one of the first things I did was to appoint a director of sustainability because I wanted Richmond to be a green city.
We've equipped 375 intersections with LED lights, purchased new compressed natural gas refuse trucks, and installed 44 Big Belly solar compactors across the city. Our stormwater utility has installed 5 green alleys and 4 rain gardens and continues to work with schools on stormwater projects.
The students and faculty at Chimborazo are excited about our beautiful garden and the effect it has on our community. Thank you, City of Richmond, for including us in your stormwater project.
The brand new Fire Station 17 is being submitted for LEED Gold certification, and all 4 of our new schools, 2 of which just opened, are being constructed for LEED certification, and so is the new Justice Center.
LEED certified community center where children will be able to have a safe haven after school is let out. I'm excited as I can be about this.
The City of Richmond is building for the future of our communities and the future of our children. With 2 new schools now open and 2 on the way, we are matching our children's potential with the facilities they deserve.
We're really excited about the fact that we have something to do with building the first new high school in the city of Richmond in 40 years. That's a long time without a new high school, and we're glad that we're turning that sad statistic into a historical statistic. We've been waiting for this day a long, long time, and it has finally come, and I want you to know that this building is absolutely gorgeous, it's beautiful, and it has far exceeded my expectations. Young people, do you think this is a nice place to go to school? I think so too.
Learning doesn't stop in the classroom, and with that in mind, we are also in the process of renovating our libraries. 5 libraries have been renovated along with a portion of the main library, and construction on the East End Library starts next month.
So many positive things that are happening in the city. One of the things I'm most proud of is the fact that we have been able to remodel 5 libraries during the last 4 years. I think that's pretty good, don't you?
Mayor Jones also knows that not everything can be learned in a classroom. Sometimes hands-on experience and training is what can guide a child's future. Through the Mayor's Youth Academy, 509 youth in 2012 alone have received job and life skills that will help them for the rest of their lives, with over 350 receiving training annually since 2010.
And what we want to do is to prepare you so that you will be able to go to the interview, you will be able to have the skills necessary to get the jobs, so that when we bring the companies here, you will be able to work here.
One thing that affects every Richmond resident is the condition of the roads. Since 2009, the city has paved over approximately 560 lane miles of roads and filled over 40,000 potholes. There has also been 29.9 miles of bike sharers installed and 120 bike racks installed, with 35 more to be installed by April. Our Department of Public Works has also been busy collecting 80,000 tons of leaves and continues to respond to record-breaking requests for bulk trash removal.
You need to know that we understand that some of the things we do are mundane. Some people think they're not important, but if you're driving down the street and you hit a pothole, all of a sudden what we do is very important.
Through the Mayor's Participation Action and Communications team, you can be directly involved in making these numbers go even higher. Since Impact started in 2011, it has received more than 40,000 work requests, everything from overgrown lots to broken streetlights.
To improve our services, the neighborhood conditions through community engagement, that means that we're going to be depending on you to help us know when there are issues in the community and we're going to engage you in helping us find solutions.
Reporting potholes isn't the only way you can help your hometown. Become a volunteer. Mayor Jones created the Neighbor to Neighbor initiative in 2010, and it has been growing ever since. 14,652 volunteer hours have been logged by city employees alone, and 756 volunteers are registered with the initiative. Neighbor to Neighbor even awarded over $5,000 in grant money as a part of the Love Your Block initiative.
We're trying to be sure that you know that we can't succeed as a city until everybody gets involved. And so each block, each neighborhood has a responsibility to be in charge of itself. And so the projects that we are recognizing today absolutely signify that you get it and that you understand the importance of community involvement.
Remember, the city can't do it alone. We need your help. Our city runs on the spirit of volunteerism, and it's contagious. We would like to thank all the nonprofits, corporate sponsors, and individuals who set an example for all of us. Thank you. Between city efforts, volunteer help, and social media insanity, Richmond has been named Best Town Ever. But that's not the only award we've received. We've received awards for our sustainability, our quality of life, our procurement practices, and our economic development. Richmond's an award-winning city. So watch out. We've got some great things in our future, and we want you to come along for the ride.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for being here tonight. Let me begin by thanking Jackie McClenny for welcoming our audience tonight and for sharing some of the good news about the things that are going on in downtown Richmond. We all know that Venture Richmond has been such an important partner in the city, and we appreciate their service. I want to also begin by asking you to give the Richmond Public Schools All-City Jazz Band a hand for providing us with I want to particularly thank Joyce Bassett for making the arrangements, and also I want to thank the conductors, Gregory McCullum and Nathaniel Boyd, for being with the young people tonight. You were absolutely fabulous. I was back here enjoying it while you were playing. So thank you so much for being here tonight. There are a lot of people that I want to thank for being here tonight, and I'll get to some of them shortly, but let me tell you that this is my fifth State of the City address, and we've been going about the business of improving our city and building the best Richmond. We've been mission focused on this way, and we believe that because of that, businesses are going to come, the tourists are going to come to further their education, those coming to work and those coming to enjoy our public spaces. And so I'm here tonight to speak to you about our mission, to talk to you about our vision for building and growing Richmond. And when I look into the audience tonight, I know that there are so many other places you could be, so many other things you could do. But as I look into the audience, I see leaders, elected officials, many faces of supporters and city workers and business leaders, young people, diverse cultures. And I want you to look to your left and to your right, because this is Richmond. This is what we look like. This is who we are, and we are delighted that you are here. I've been told that Congressman Robert C. Bobby Scott is here, and if he is, I'd like for him to stand and be recognized. Bobby. And I'm not sure if we have any members of the Richmond delegation that are here. They probably have a little something to do on the other side of the street. But if they're not here, we thank them for all that they do. Do I see some? Stand up, please. I see Betsy Carr. It's hard to see back there. Thank you so much for being here. Delighted to be joined by members of City Council. Would you stand and be recognized under the leadership of Charles Samuels? Come on, let's give it up for City Council. Thank you for being here tonight. And members of the Richmond City School Board under the leadership of Jeff Bourne, won't you stand? We're so happy to have you with us tonight as well. And just allow me to recognize the fact that many of the things that have my picture on my face on them are only possible because of the strong team that is behind me. And so I'd like for you to see my senior team. If they're here, I'd like for them to stand and be recognized. Members of my senior team, please. Thank you so much for all you do. And these people are not expecting to be recognized, but they put so much into tonight's event. I just want to call their names: Tammy Hawley, the press secretary, Mike Wallace, Shelby Couch, J.L. Vaughn, and Carolyn Waller. They're all people who put a lot in tonight, so give them a round of applause as well. And you know, as I think about the next 4 years, I'm convinced that the stars are aligned for our success. We're poised not to do good things, but we're poised to do great things. And so on the occasion of the State of the City address, I believe that the state of the city of Richmond is, are you ready for it, strong and growing stronger. That's what the state of Richmond is. We began our journey 4 years ago, and we did so at a challenging time. Our economic downturn was in full force, the worst since the Great Depression. But we stayed focused, and our strengths were maximized. We pursued opportunities to improve our city and to position our future. We forged ahead in spite of the times, and we have been willing to take the necessary risks to move forward. And today, I know we are on the right path. I know that we're on the right path to a shared destiny. We have been mission-focused. We've been growing by design and not by default. And we've gotten some things done even in these difficult economic times. Today, the capital city's light has grown brighter and our future has grown stronger because hand in hand, we have decided that Richmond could not only be better, but we've decided that Richmond can be the best. We have set out to build 4 new schools. 2 elementary schools have now opened. A middle school will open in January, and a high school will open in January of 2015. And we're building the city's first new high school in 40 years, the new Huguenot High School. And if my kids were able to tell you how much they wish that school was there when they were children, they would let you know that this is a big deal. Overall, we've invested almost $200 million in new school construction. We have aggressively pursued new economic development opportunities while retaining and adding thousands of jobs in the city. Our bond ratings have been upgraded 5 separate times during the past 4 years, upgrades that will ultimately save taxpayers millions and millions of dollars. We've also found ways to save millions by simply changing tax collection practices as well as unwinding development deals that were not performing as predicted, such as the downtown CDA. We have made advances on overdue projects like building a new fire station, building a new justice center, and closing the history books on outstanding matters like the debt that was owed to us on the RMA. And in the process, we have increased spending with minority businesses from $14 million and 6% of spending in my first year in office to $39 million and 12% of spending last year. We've advanced a riverfront development plan that will allow Richmonders to have great access and to take advantage of the jewel that we call the James River. And we've accomplished much together. But let me be clear, there is so much more work that needs to be done. And I'm calling on all of us to set Richmond on the road to long-term strength, to set Richmond on the road to long-term stability, and to set Richmond on the road to long-term success. And let me say tonight that as your mayor, I see a strong future, and I see a strong future that is within our reach. As we look ahead through 2013 and beyond, I say it's time for us to redefine what possible means. I want you to join me tonight in reinventing possible. I want you to join me tonight in writing a new chapter in the history of our great city. If we are to accomplish this, we've got to look at every aspect of our city's life. We've got to look at jobs, economic development, housing opportunities, poverty reduction, and education, health, and well-managed government. There is the ever-present challenge of creating jobs that are needed today, as well as investing in jobs that will drive our economy in years that are to come. In my budget presentation last year, I asked City Council to invest major economic development projects that would help nurture our competitive advantages in arts, culture, and tourism. And those plans have included improvements to the historic landmark theater, the Shockoe Bottom revitalization, and funds to advance our plans for riverfront development. We have to increase tourism to generate revenue and jobs for our city. But beyond that, it's an opportunity for visitors to come and share the rich history of our city. It's an opportunity for all of us to share the pride that we feel in our beloved city of Richmond. The landmark improvements have begun to yield the private investment dollars we anticipated. Altria has been kind enough to contribute $10 million as a part of a building naming rights agreement, and we want to thank them for that. Dominion has contributed another $2 million for stage naming rights, and we want to thank them for that. I may be mistaken, but when somebody gives $10 million, I think you should applaud. And we expect the expanded operations and additional visitor spending to generate an estimated annual impact of $6.1 million for the city of Richmond. Also, our plans for Shockoe Bottom is something that we are excited about. The request for construction bids will come out next month for the rehabilitation of the train station, and we expect that project to begin in May of this year. We want our newly renovated train shed to open in time to welcome the UCI 2015 Road World Cycling Championships. That's an event where we will entertain a global audience of, listen to this number, 300 million people who will be focused on the city of Richmond. And we will add our name to the marquee of great cities like Madrid, Florence, and Copenhagen. This will bring us one step closer to being a great cycling city as we continue to get ready for 2015. And part of the Main Street Station renovation will be a new welcome center for Richmond, an indoor market to augment the 17th Street outdoor market with leasable spaces for restaurants and retail. Main Street Station will still be our multimodal hub. It will serve Amtrak, Megabus, GRTC, motor coach tours and taxis, bicycles and shuttles to the airport and to hotels. But we're also going to add Franklin Street improvements to the mix. Our plans are to reestablish Franklin Street through the Main Street Station train shed for bicycle, Segway, and pedestrian traffic. This area is going to be accessible as it once was. We're going to make it accessible again. We've also funded a new streetscape for Franklin Street from 14th to 18th Street, and we'll be recreating the 17th Street Farmers Market into a public square with improved community gathering spaces. The design process for the public square will begin next month. Now, I know that there are questions about baseball. There are always questions about baseball, and particularly baseball as it relates to Shockoe Bottom. Let me say tonight that we are committed to building a new baseball stadium. And let me also say that we want to keep the squirrels here in Richmond. And let me tell you that even with all that has been written about this subject, Nutsy and I are still best friends. With respect to location, let me say this so that we can be clear about the process going forward. Baseball decisions are going to be made based on sound financial analysis, anticipated economic impact, and on our tax base and our local economy. But the bottom line is that we're going to get it done. The riverfront is central to our plans for the city's future. Richmond can reinvent itself by expanding the use of the James River. We have plans drawn that will connect the river's use to downtown and remove pedestrian barriers to ensure greater access. The James River is our precious gem, and we've got to invest in riverfront development Developing the river brings yet another source of pride to our city. It enhances tourism, recreation, and economic development. The past summer, we had the wonderful opportunity to host a street art festival showcasing a collection of murals between Shockoe Bottom and Browns Island. The festival was organized by the city's own Ed Trask and transformed what was basically a dead space into a huge outdoor gallery. And this is the kind of energy that we have in the city, the kind of energy that we want to continue to unleash so that people can continue to believe and know that our city is a vibrant place to live, work, and play. Beyond tourism, economic development, and recreation, we are positioning ourselves for an enlivened port of Richmond. Our port and the industrial area adjacent to it is woefully underdeveloped. And there are huge economic development and job creation opportunities in the Commerce and Deepwater Terminal area, and the right investments in this area will attract businesses and potentially thousands and thousands of jobs. We've already put money in our budget for port area improvements, and we expect construction to start by the spring of this year. These are just a few projects of the many projects that we're involved of. These are projects that are on the horizon that are going to create jobs and revitalize neighborhoods and bring new life into the city of Richmond. Our downtown is becoming more alive and vibrant every day. We have many vibrant and adaptive reuse projects that are underway. We have just seen the opening of the John Marshall and the First National Bank building, which opened in recent months, and we're presently entertaining the prospect of a new office tower. If the deal works out, it will mean keeping 900 jobs downtown. It will mean private investment of up to $100 million in an office tower between 15 and 20 stories high. And this will be a new construction, and we may be in a position to announce this very, very soon. We've been focused on not only attracting businesses, but we've also been focused on retaining businesses. And if this deal comes to fruition, it will be a great win for us as we retain one of the great businesses of our city. Along Broad Street, which is our front door, we've remained focused on revitalization projects for that corridor and the broader downtown arts and cultural district. You may have noticed the Sarah Bell and Neil November Theater renovations that are progressing nicely. You may have noticed the Morton Jewelers Artist Lofts are beautiful, and they're going to open this spring. You may have noticed Art 180, which will occupy its newly renovated building in just a few months. Great new eateries such as Pasteur and Rappahannock Oyster are becoming an important part of the downtown dining experience. And later this year, the Arts and Cultural District will also see groundbreaking on a new Black History Museum in the Lee Street Armory. Now, we attribute much of this success to the creative and entrepreneurial spirit of our small businesses, and the artistic community also has much to do with this. But it also has a lot to do with the groundwork that we have laid as a city. It has a lot to do with our new loan programs, which are helping to bring to fruition many projects that many have otherwise would not have been able to do, and many projects that would really have died on the vine. Another key project is the Washington Redskins Summer Training Camp development. This opportunity was leveraged to generate investment and business expansion through the city to the tune of an estimated $40 million. Our partnership with Bon Secours in Richmond has included instruction of a new Redskins practice field and a sports medicine facility that will be located on Lee Street. And it will also have property developed on the former site of the West Hampton School, and also it will develop a medical wellness and fitness center and related uses on property in the East End adjacent to Bon Secours Richmond Community Hospital, which will be the first major construction in that area in many, many years. This partnership is also going to yield an additional $6.3 million for Richmond Public Schools, and we are extremely proud of the opportunity to have the Washington Redskins come to town And whether you are a fan or not, for at least 8 weeks this summer, try to cheer for the Redskins. This is a world-class opportunity for us, and one that I'm glad we have all agreed to move forward on. And over the next 8 years of the training camp coming to Richmond, we should maximize this opportunity to build sports tourism as a focus area for the city and for the region. Sports tourism is one of the fastest growing sectors of the global travel and tourism industry. The impact of tourism in our city with just visitor spending is already at about $500 million a year, and the impact in the region is $1.6 billion. We can increase that to our benefit in years to come, and we're positioned to do just that. We will make the most of our spectacular location. We will make the most of the beauty and the history of our city and the creativity and the passion of our citizens. The steps we're positioned to take over the next 4 years, I believe, will lead to the further rebirth of our downtown and position our capital city as a thriving residential, retail, and waterfront community. And many developers are consistently knocking at our door to get new projects started. But even as we speak of the redevelopment and opportunities being generated around the city, even as the excitement grows for the things we are positioned to accomplish, we've got to face our own ground zero. So to speak, we have got to deal with issues that may not be as alluring or as exciting. Our own focal point of measurement for our future success is inextricably tied to the success of our efforts to reduce poverty in the city of Richmond. This is the reality of it all, making sure that every community shares in the Richmond that we're trying to build is going to require us to plan for the future in ways that we have not dared to plan for in decades gone by. For decades, nobody has taken an organized approach to face the issue of poverty in our city. What we've worked to do is to bring a comprehensive focus to this issue, knowing that the answer is tied to our economic development strategies and to our neighborhood revitalization plans. We've said we aren't going to tax our way out of tough times, but rather we're going to work to grow our way out. And so our strategies are designed to expand our tax base, to be inclusive and to broaden opportunity, not just for some, but to broaden opportunity for everyone. Just last week, the Anti-Poverty Commission presented me with their report, and I want to pause to thank Ellen Robertson for her work as chair of that commission, and I look forward to continuing to work with her as she provides leadership in this regard. I want to underscore the fact that this Anti-Poverty Commission is one that is going to guide much of what we do in the next 4 years. The report underscores how many in our city have lived on an economic edge for far, far too long. And many have fallen over the edge, over their own fiscal cliff, if you will, and they have been left to stay there. The poverty rate in our city is over twice that of the metropolitan area as a whole, and several times higher than those found in the surrounding counties. And we all know the negative consequences of those factors, those things that themselves become causes for poverty, those things that themselves become indicators of poverty. High crime rates, geographic and social isolation of poor communities, and strain on the social fabric. Listen to these alarming statistics. 25% of our population is classified as living in poverty according to the federal government, and nearly 50% of the city's population is poor, near poor, or falling into poverty. 50% are living on the economic edge. Those are the stark facts that have a long history. And I'm not going to go into all that has gotten us to where we are today, some of which are rooted in the legacy of slavery and Jim Crow and the concentrated position of public housing, the destruction of the working class neighborhoods, freeways, white flight, failure of metropolitan school integration, manufacturing declines, and mass incarceration. There are so many things that are indicators that have brought us to this point. These are harsh realities, but tonight I say to you, we must face this harsh reality together. We've got to face the fact that a substantial part of our whole population at this very moment is denied the denied some of the basic necessities of life. A substantial part of our population has to struggle day in and day out. These are people that may have never had the opportunity to come to the Carpenter Theater, people who may have never had the means to go to the Landmark Theater. Perhaps they don't have a bike to ride or a leisure lifestyle that will allow them to enjoy the beauty of the James and the amenities that we're working to bring to our riverfront. So even as we make our lofty plans, even as we make our plans for a great and bright future, we have got to be sure and certain that everybody in our city is the subject of our interest and the subject of our concern. Franklin Roosevelt said this: "The test of our progress is not whether we add more to the abundance of those who have much. Rather, it is whether we provide enough for those who have too little." As with many urban centers over the past 3 decades, our story has been framed as a tale of two cities, one rich and one poor. We've looked at our challenges through the lens of our discussions, and policies were influenced by the framing of the issues, whether we were talking about education, housing, healthcare, or other matters. But I believe the framing of these issues as a tale of two cities has divided us and often has led us to talk at each other rather than truly finding sustainable solutions. I want us to find tonight a new and different approach. I want us to frame our tale as a tale of 3 points of view: those who are well off, those who are in need, and then those who are in the middle class. I believe that as we frame our policies with an increased view to including the too long overlooked middle class in this city, then we'll find some common ground solutions that will truly be sustainable. The Anti-Poverty Commission recommends regional transportation as a must, and I agree wholeheartedly with that. We could make thousands of more jobs available and accessible to metropolitan Richmond residents by providing effective public transportation that links the regional economy to those who need the jobs the most. There are approximately 128,000 entry-level jobs that are just simply out of the reach of many city residents right now, jobs that they can't even compete for because of a lack of transportation. And not only will this benefit those who can't get the jobs, this will also benefit commuters and those who are in the middle class who want to function in a more environmentally sustainable system that decreases our carbon footprint. An effective transportation system will produce a regional benefit that all of us will be proud to admire. We've got to find a way to bring about this change and to get the jurisdictions to join us in this effort to make sure that we have transportation, not just in Richmond, but that we have transportation in the region. I've just been asked by Dr. Eugene Trani to be a part of a regional logistics roundtable, to chair that roundtable, and I'm hoping that as the work of the roundtable begins to take shape, that it will help to inform us and shape a larger mass transportation discussion for us in the region. A top-tier recommendation of the Anti-Poverty Commission also is that we redevelop much of the city's public housing stock, and we want to do that without involuntarily displacing residents, with the aim of improving the physical and social environment of public housing residents. The Dove Street redevelopment will see the first 80 units completed by the third quarter of this year and another 48 by the second quarter of next year. The plan for 300 total units of development are a part of that project. On the city's east side, we've begun that process of laying the framework to deconcentrate poverty by transforming Richmond's public housing communities. Our vision for these communities is mixed-use housing with neighborhood amenities that most of us take for granted, like a good grocery store, like a good school, like a good community center. We want everybody to have these same opportunities. And this term, we're going to see progress on Creighton Court and Wickham Court. I'm looking for groundbreaking on phase 1 of our redevelopment initiative in 2014 and expect to implement subsequent phases by 2016. We're going to finish Hope 6 in Blackwell that we began some years ago. And while we have to wait on HUD for some action, we're keeping a focus on helping Richmond Redevelopment and Housing Authority get that completed. All of these initiatives cannot be accomplished without the cooperation and collaboration of the Housing Authority, and we are hoping that we will continue to be able to enjoy good relations. We can reinvent possible for this city, and we don't have to leave things undone. We can redefine what is possible for this city if we just put our minds to it. Later this week, we're going to be announcing another Housing Authority related project, Fay Towers. We have seen this project that has been here for 42 years, a senior housing structure. If we can leverage the opportunity to redevelop that particular venue in a way that we think it should be renovated, our efforts should lay the foundation for a larger revitalization of North Jackson Ward as the area continues to grow strong, healthy, and becomes a sustainable community. I look forward to sharing more about that in days that are to come. Workforce development and jobs are key to our efforts to be successful with poverty mitigation. The Anti-Poverty Commission once again noted that there are 3 primary pathways to poverty in Richmond. They are being unemployed or underemployed, being a child in a household where adults do not have full-time jobs, or being employed with low wages. Another top-tier recommendation of the Commission is that we invest more in workforce development. And this is something that we have done, and it is something that we are going to continue to do to make opportunities available for underemployed residents. And then we're also recommending that we integrate workforce development with economic development strategies. We began that integration with our reorganization of the Community Development Division and Economic Development Department into one robust agency. We followed that reorganization with the establishment of our Richmond Workforce Pipeline. And our goal was to expand job training and workforce preparation activities that link people with jobs by working directly with employers. And our pipeline has been successful in linking participants with employment opportunities and providing the necessary training and skills that they need to succeed. In 2012, 70 businesses and 212 participants were engaged in this particular endeavor, and 56% of those people found employment. The Anti-Poverty Commission also recommended that we scale up this work, and I want you to know that I agree 100%, and we look forward to scaling up this program. Early next month, we're going to open an additional workforce development one-stop shop, and it's going to be downtown at 2nd and Cary. And we're so pleased to be bringing workforce services where it needs to be, at a central location where those in need can access the services. This is centrally important, and we will work to include additional investments for these efforts in the years that are to come. Now, we all know that education is empowering. If we want Richmond to be a healthy city, we can't succeed without restoring the vitality of our schools. The Anti-Poverty Commission noted that the educational attainment of our city is a strong indicator of poverty. It is a stronger indicator of poverty than race. Among adults 25 years old and older, 41% of those in poverty in our city have less than a high school diploma. In March of last year, I established my Schools Accountability Efficiency Review Task Force. I did that even though the state constitution vests the operation of schools with the school board. And I did it because we all have a stake in what happens to our children. We all have a stake in what happens to our youth. And as mayor, I have a responsibility to be the leading voice in this effort. And I have called for an educational system that prepares our young people not to lose, but has called on our system that prepares our young people to win. I just can't settle for a system that works just for some, while others are being left behind. The work of the school's task force, along with the school board, thank you. The work of the task force along with the school board is imperative in our overall success. And the fact is that everything we're doing to create a bright economic future will not be sustained until we here in Richmond upgrade our educational system. I'm eager to work with the new school board. I'm eager to work with all of those who are of like mind so that we can achieve greatness in our schools. We will find the way to create successful models that will chart a winning direction for all of the young people, like these beautiful young people who performed for us tonight. We know that we can do it. I believe that we can do it. We're going to do it. But let me also suggest that our state officials need to hear from us tonight. We want to ask them to help us deliver the funds that we would be due if the local composite index was an accurate measure of our ability to pay for education. Richmond schools need to receive funding based on the city's poverty level. It compromises the very future of our city when we are measured as though we are as affluent as Chesterfield or Henrico, without consideration for our poverty statistics. And we're going to keep on fighting for this needed change, and I know that we join hands with the members of the Richmond delegation who are going to fight with us. Even if we are not heard, we're going to keep on fighting until we will be heard. We're going to attack poverty, and that also means making sure that all people receive quality health care, the quality health care that they deserve. And we've begun to see some progress in the city. Listen to this wonderful statistic. The city's infant mortality rate declined from 12.8 deaths per 1,000 live births in 2010 to a rate of 8.4 in 2011. That's a great statistic. It is believed that that is the lowest infant mortality rate that we have had in modern history in the city of Richmond. And I believe that the efforts of Richmond Healthy Start, along with Richmond Health Department and other community partners all working together, help drive those numbers down. We are redefining what it means to be, we are redefining possible. We are redefining the possibilities that we can achieve by not believing that we can't, but believing that we can. The rate of teen pregnancy in the city of Richmond has dropped by 30%. Decreasing from 916 teen pregnancies in 2008 to 602 in 2011. Now that's still too many, but we're headed in the right direction. We're also working to find ways to improve our health care delivery. There's evidence that shows that access to primary care is associated with improved quality of care and decreased medical costs. And an outgrowth of my Blue Ribbon Commission on Health Policy, we held a healthcare symposium in November to focus on the healthcare delivery system in our city, and we are engaging the broader community in dialogue about ways to attract and retain healthcare practitioners to live and work in the city of Richmond. So we are mission focused on many levels, and we're taking a comprehensive and holistic approach to the issues that we need to address. The various commissions and task forces that we've put to work are all helping us in this regard. Tough economic times make it difficult to address and maneuver through all of the challenges that we face. It was forced upon us at all levels of city government, and because it was forced on us, we were forced to work smarter. And over the past 4 years, we have successfully reduced the cost of running city government, having cut $26 million from the budget in my first year and closing budget gaps of $30 million and $16 million and $23 million respectively. We have been able to overcome the difficult economic times that we're operating in. And we have instituted changes and reductions in response to shrinking revenues without interrupting core services. And for the upcoming budget cycle, our fiscal outlook is still challenging. The national economy continues to recover at a steady but tepid pace. Here at home, we see things beginning to turn around, and the assessed real estate values are starting to rise. But we still have several expenditure drivers that increase our notion that the next budget is going to be a difficult one for us to deal with. Drivers like increasing health care costs, retirement contributions, general inflationary increases, and debt service expenses. And then there are things that we don't even know about that we have to deal with. Will there be added cost as a result of changes in the state biennial budget? What will be the final impact of the Affordable Health Care Act? Will there be adjustments for federal or state changes to revenue sharing programs or grants? But based on what we do know, we believe that this year we will also have to face a gap in the area of about $30 million. And so we are presently preparing our budget, and once again, we're looking at ways to close the gap in funding. But part of building a more secure future requires us to take on the toughest long-term challenges where we find them, and that includes the city's budget. It's only by making tough decisions today that we'll be able to meet the challenges of tomorrow. And I think that's a good point for me to end on today. I see these young people squirming in their seats. And so the issue that is important for us to recognize is that we have the ability to make this city better for all who live here, but only if we make the decision tonight to work together. And so before I leave you tonight, I want to just make a very quick comment about an important matter that I feel strongly about. It's an important matter that I think needs to have some mention, something that's going on in our country. 1 week ago yesterday, I was in the nation's capital for the second inauguration of the president. It was a wonderful day in our country's history, filled with ceremonial rites and celebration. And I was honored to be there representing you as your mayor as I began my second term and as the president began his. And I was moved by so many things that day, but I was particularly moved by the inaugural poet, Richard Blanco, and his poem, One Today. He used some powerful words to reflect on, and he reflected on the horrific tragedy that our country witnessed in Newtown, Connecticut, only a few days ago. And in his poem, he described what we all feel. This is what he said: the impossible vocabulary of sorrow that won't explain the empty desks of 20 children marked absent today, but marked absent forever. Friends, it's heartbreaking what our nation has had to endure in the wake of gun violence and illegal guns. In Newtown, those were such tiny souls who were only at the start of their very young lives. And it's distressing what our own city has had to endure related to gun violence. Every year, our hearts are breaking as we remember the victims of crime, as we look at the statue in City Hall called the River of Tears, and we adorn it with red ribbons as mothers and fathers come to recognize and honor those who have been lost to gun violence. And as a father and as a grandfather, I can't imagine having to get a call like those parents in Newtown, or the parents right here of some child that was lost unnecessarily. But even as these tragic examples mount, the debate fiercely continues over guns in our society. And sitting there in Washington last week as your mayor on Martin Luther King's holiday, King, another victim of gun violence, I reflected on the awesome responsibility that I have as your mayor. And we have to create jobs, we have to balance budgets, we have to deliver services, but perhaps our highest responsibility is to enforce the law and to protect the people we serve. And one of the first things I did as your mayor after taking office in 2009 was to join the national group Mayors Against Illegal Guns. It's a bipartisan group that doesn't see the issue of illegal guns as a conservative or a liberal issue, but rather it's an issue of law and order, an issue of life and death. The fact is that criminals and the mentally ill are already prohibited from having guns by federal law. But the problem is the enforcement of that law has been marginal at best. Criminals can buy guns as easily as logging onto the internet, or just by stopping by a gun show and not having to do a background check. And it is often mayors who have to deal with the consequences of guns in the wrong hands or illegal guns on streets. One of the things I will continue to stand for this term with mayors from around this country is sensible gun laws that have to be on the books and have to be enforced. Public safety has to be put ahead of special interest. A ban on assault weapons is needed. Banning armor-piercing bullets makes sense. Limiting ammunition magazines is the right thing to do. Smart gun laws make a difference. I hope you agree with me when I tell you that enough is enough. And so our mantra over the years has been building a better Richmond. But for my second term, we're setting our heights a little bit higher. And we're not just going to build a better Richmond, but we're going to build the best Richmond. We're building the best Richmond because that's what you deserve, that's what I deserve, that's what our children deserve. And if we work together, we can lock in and expand any gains that we make. We can take on the tough issues, we can get results, and I may ask you from time to time to step out of your comfort zone and to take risks with me so that we can push the ball up the field. But I promise you that if we stay together, if we work together, I believe that our best days are not behind us, but that our best days are in front of us. It was heard to have been said anecdotally that the great fighter Floyd Mayweather was asked by Larry Merchant at the end of his last fight, "Floyd, I saw you fight tonight, and it looked like the fight was very long and brutal, but it appeared that the longer you fought, it seemed like the more energy you had." Floyd Mayweather said to him, "You see, you are right, and what you saw was the truth, because the longer I fight, the stronger I get." I want you to know that we have been fighting for a long time, but the longer we fight, the stronger we're going to get. The longer we fight for excellent education, the stronger we're going to get. The longer we fight to lift up those who are in the bowels of poverty, the stronger we're going to get. The longer we are able to fight together and not against each other, the stronger we're going to become. And so God bless you, and believe that we are on our way to a bright future, because Richmond is a great city, but we have not yet begun to realize the greatness that we believe is going to be ours. Thank you so much for coming tonight and being a part of this wonderful opportunity to share with you on this State of the City address. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.